Our next friend, Brianna Swan.
Hey guys. So first service was my first time sharing this testimony, so this is my second. But this is really vulnerable and close to my heart. I want to tell you my story of growing up as an angry Christian. I always knew God. I always believed in God. My father was a pastor and my mother worked in children's ministry. But at home, our life was chaos. At 8 years old, I decided I really wanted to figure out what was wrong, why my mother's weeping was more familiar to me than her laughter. And I thought I was so clever, and I was able to catch my parent having an affair. I thought I knew all the answers. I finally had some sense of control. But the truth was, I kept it a secret, along with all the other secrets in my house, because that's just the way things were. Little did I know was that over the next 15 years, my family, we would be stuck in this cycle of suffering. Lots and lots and lots of affairs, addiction, secret sin, betrayal, manipulation, control. Some things that are too dark to even talk about on this stage. And although I never left the church and I never left Christ, I became very angry and bitter, especially with the church, because there were leaders who knew what was happening in my house and did nothing. There was no accountability being held. No one was stepping in to protect those of us who were vulnerable and collateral damage of the sin that was taking place. I grew up, I was a worship leader. I'd sing on stage about the goodness of God, and my heart was hardened. I was angry. I said, God, I believe in you, but I do not trust you. No one can keep me safe. You can't keep me safe. Only I can keep myself safe. When I was 18 years old, I almost ran away with a boy that I was in an on and off again relationship with for 5 years. I instead took a hard look at my life and through the grace of God said, I don't think this kind of love that hurts me over and over again is what I want for the rest of my life. So I chose God. I did spoken words about this love. I went viral with millions of views on TikTok and Instagram. I wrote a novel that I self-published in 2020 about that romance, about the mental health. The problem was that I would continue to go on podcasts and speak on stages about my heart being healed. But what I couldn't share was that at home, my heart was still being broken again and again and again. And I would cry out to God, asking him, when will I actually be healed? When will I actually stop getting hurt over and over? When will the healing just stay and I won't be re-scarred again and again? It got to the point where in 2023, some situations got really dark in my family, and I prayed to God every night that he would take my life because I did not want to continue to go in the cycle of suffering. In 2024, some situations got physically unsafe, and I had to make some really difficult decisions to put up some extreme boundaries that I never wanted to put up. I had to learn how to grieve a parent who was the death of a parent. Grieve the death of a parent who was still alive. And it is still grief that I carry today. I pray that that is not my story forever. I pray that God brings restoration to my parent and we can one day have a relationship again. But I've also had to accept the reality of this is where we are right now. What I was able to find in this new space away from the re-scarring was that to be in a safe space, I became a different person. I felt my nervous system reset. I felt my brain starting to see the world differently. I started to soften as a person. My anger started to melt away. I learned forgiveness for someone who wasn't even asking for it. I learned how to have mercy for someone and still hold boundaries. And I can tell you that I was able to look at God completely differently in a way I had never seen him before. I saw him as my protector. I saw him as a good dad. And I got to experience life as a daughter where I was free. I was valuable. I felt like a princess, like my insides were made of gold. Back in June, just a few weeks ago, I got rebaptized. And I was able to celebrate the goodness of God. I was able to look at him as a father who wants to see me flourish. I was never made to be small. I want to tell you, if you're someone in this room who suffers in silence, please speak up. Please reach out to leaders, and I pray that they are good leaders who understand the goodness of God, who understand that you are worth protecting. You are worth fighting for. You are valuable. Thank you so much.